"Sir, open the door. HOA enforcement." The voice was sharp, practiced. I opened it, and 3 men stood there too close for comfort, hands on their belts, clipboards up. Fake confidence dialed all the way in. The tallest one said, "Step outside now." Across the street, Karen Edwards, the self-appointed HOA queen, was already filming, smiling. "He's unstable," she yelled. "I warned you about him." I exhaled slowly. "Unstable for fixing my porch light?" Before anyone answered, the door behind me opened. Heavy steps. My wife stepped out beside me, Laura, an active-duty law enforcement officer in full uniform, badge clear, posture calm but lethal. She looked straight at them. "Who told you that you could order my husband anywhere?" Everything froze. If this already feels wild, don't go anywhere. And if you enjoy real, no-nonsense HOA stories like this, hit like and subscribe, because what happens next ends careers. The tallest guy cleared his throat like he'd forgotten his next line. "Ma'am, this is HOA business." My wife, Officer Laura Bell, didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. She glanced at his belt, then his clipboard, then his shoes. "Funny," she said, "HOA enforcement doesn't wear that gear." The shortest one shifted his feet. Sweat showed at his temple. Karen waved from across the street, still filming. "Just do your job," she snapped. He refused inspection. I stayed quiet, let them talk themselves into a corner. Laura took one slow step forward. "Inspection of what?" Silence. The tall one tried again. "Ma'am, we were told your husband was being uncooperative." "By who?" Laura asked. All 3 men looked at Karen. She blinked fast, too fast. I just asked them to check," she said. "For safety." Laura nodded once, calm, focused. "Then show me your IDs." The middle guy reached into his pocket, hesitated, then pulled out a card as it might bite him. Laura took it, flipped it over, her jaw tightened. "No one issues this," she said flatly. The street went dead quiet. Karen stopped smiling. And that's when I realized this wasn't an HOA visit. This was something else entirely. The shortest guy swallowed hard. "Ma'am, we don't have to show you anything." That's when Laura smiled, not warm, not friendly, the kind of smile officers use when they already know the truth. "You don't have to," she said. "But you're standing on private property, claiming authority you don't have. That makes this my problem." Karen stepped closer, heels clicking sharply against the pavement. "Why are you intimidating them?" she snapped. "They're just doing what I asked." Laura finally looked at her. "What you asked doesn't matter," she said evenly. "What matters is what they're pretending to be." The tallest guy straightened up, voice rising. "We're authorized contractors." "By who?" Laura asked again. Silence. Phones were up now, neighbors whispering, recording everything. I could feel it, the moment slipping away from Karen's control. She tried to laugh it off. "This is ridiculous. He's been aggressive for weeks." Laura turned to me. "Have you raised your voice once?" I shook my head. Laura nodded. Then she looked back at the 3 men. "Last chance," she said. "Step off the property." Instead of leaving, the middle one said something that made my stomach drop. "We were told you weren't home, ma'am." Laura's eyes sharpened instantly. "Told by who?" Every head turned toward Karen. And in that moment, she knew she'd said too much. Karen's mouth opened. Nothing came out. Laura didn't rush her. She waited, let the silence stretch until it hurts. "You told them I wasn't home," Laura said calmly. "Why?" Karen scoffed, waving a hand like this was beneath her. "I didn't tell them that. I might have mentioned it. There's a difference." One of the fake officers muttered, "You said it was safe." That did it. Karen snapped her head toward him. "Don't speak unless I tell you to." Every phone on the street zoomed in. Laura's voice stayed steady. "So you coordinated this," she said. "You brought unverified men to my house, you claimed authority, and you lied." Karen pointed at me, panic leaking through her anger. "He's the problem. He's been threatening people." I finally spoke. "Name one." She couldn't. Laura stepped closer to the men. "You were told my husband was dangerous," she said. "Dangerous how?" The tallest one hesitated, then answered too fast. "We were told he might destroy evidence." Laura blinked. Slow. "Evidence of what?" Karen took a step back, and that's when she reached into her bag. I didn't know what she was holding yet, but the way Laura stiffened told me everything was about to explode. Karen pulled out a folded document and snapped it open like it was a winning card. "There," she said, forcing a smile. "Eviction notice, signed, legal." The street leaned in. Laura didn't take it right away. She read it from where she stood, then she held out her hand. Karen hesitated and gave it over. Laura scanned the page once, twice, her jaw tightened. "This is fake," she said flatly. Karen laughed too loudly. "You don't know that?" Laura tapped the bottom of the page. "Wrong seal, wrong formatting, and this signature?" She looked up. "The sheriff retired 2 years ago." A murmur rolled through the neighbors. The tallest fake officer backed up half a step. "We didn't know anything about that," he said quickly. Laura turned to him. "But you were willing to help her enforce it." Silence. Karen's face flushed red. "You're twisting this," she snapped. "I was protecting the community." Laura folded the paper carefully. "No," she said. "You were trying to scare my husband out of his own home." Karen's eyes darted around, searching for an exit. That's when Laura reached for her phone. "I'm calling this in," she said. And Karen finally understood this wasn't going to end with yelling. Sirens tore through the street, lights flashing red and blue. Karen's phone slipped from her hand as she whirled toward the sound. The patrol car door opened and the sheriff stepped out, broad-shouldered, calm, experienced. Every movement is precise. No hesitation, no small talk. He knew Laura knew me. "What's happening here?" he asked, scanning the frozen street. Laura handed him the fake eviction notice without a word. She let it speak for itself. The sheriff's eyes narrowed. His voice was low but commanding. "Ma'am, this is impersonation of legal authority. You brought unlicensed people to enforce rules on private property. That's a serious offense." Karen's lips trembled. "They said they were licensed. I didn't know." "Enough," the sheriff cut in. "You're under investigation. Everyone involved will be held accountable." The fake officers tried to slink away, but Laura raised a finger. "Not one step. You go with her." Neighbors whispered and kept recording. Karen's color drained. She realized she had no allies, no fake cops willing to lie for her anymore, no street backing her. I stepped forward, shoulder to shoulder with Laura. Just standing there, visible, solid, confirmed Karen's defeat. She tried one last desperate gasp. "You'll regret this. The neighborhood will thank me one day." The sheriff shook his head. "Law handles threats, not intimidation. Step in line." The street exhaled collectively, phones lowered. Karen froze, fake cops exposed. I looked at Laura, calm, collected, unshakable. Pride hit me hard. "I didn't marry a hero," I whispered. "I married the whole storm." Karen's face turned ashen. Her plan, her so-called control, was unraveling in real time. She looked at the fake officers. They all avoided eye contact, shuffling like guilty children. Laura didn't move an inch. Badge catching the sunlight, stance firm, eyes piercing. One word from her, one subtle step forward, and the 3 men froze completely. The tallest officer muttered, voice barely audible, "Ma'am, we didn't know." Laura's gaze cut through him. "You were willing to enforce lies on my husband, on private property, and you still call that obedience?" Karen swallowed hard. Panic was creeping through her every gesture. She pulled at her phone again as if recording could save her. It couldn't. Neighbors leaned forward, phones up, watching the collapse of her little empire. Some whispered. Some shook their heads. I stayed right behind Laura, shoulders squared, fists relaxed, but present. My height, my calm, my silent confidence made Karen's lies shrink even more. Then Laura did something small but lethal. She whispered, "Step back, all of you." The 3 men froze, Karen's knees nearly buckling. A neighbor's voice cracked from the sidewalk. "I recorded everything." Karen's eyes snapped toward the camera. Fear hit full force, and that's when she did something completely reckless. She reached into her bag and pulled out a forged eviction notice, waving it like it would make her look legal. Laura's eyes narrowed. "You just gave me everything I need." Stay right here, because the next moment flips the entire street, and Karen's empire of fear falls apart completely. Karen waved the fake eviction notice like a weapon. "This is legal, you'll see," she shouted, voice cracking. Laura didn't flinch. Badge catching the sunlight, posture calm but lethal. "Signed by whom?" she asked. Her voice was quiet but cut through Karen like a knife. Karen's hands shook. "The sheriff's template, I found it online. Laura held out her phone. "I'm calling the real sheriff now. Everyone here is recording. Your lies, your fake cops, your threats, they're all on tape." The street went silent. Phones raised, neighbors frozen in anticipation. The tallest fake officer swallowed. The shortest one's hand trembled as it hovered over his vest. The middle one looked ready to bolt. Karen's eyes darted around, looking for someone, anyone, to save her. Nobody moved. Laura stepped closer, just one step. but it carried authority, weight, and certainty. You brought unlicensed people onto private property. You impersonated authority. You threatened my husband. This ends now. Corinne's phone slipped from her hand. She backed up, heels clicking frantically. And then sirens. Flashing red and blue lights cut through the tension. The real sheriff arrived, calm, eyes scanning. No hesitation, no nonsense, just authority. Laura handed the sheriff the fake eviction notice and the tape from the neighbors. "This is all captured," she said. The sheriff's face darkened. "Ma'am, impersonating legal authority is a crime. You and anyone assisting you will be held accountable." The fake officers tried to slip away. Laura raised her hand. "Not one step, you go with her." Corinne's empire of fear collapsed in front of everyone. She had no allies, no plan, no street support, just the cold, undeniable truth. I looked at Laura, chest swelling with pride. Calm, strong, precise. "I didn't marry a hero," I whispered. "I married the whole storm." Corinne was handcuffed, face pale and frozen. The three fake officers stood beside her, sweat dripping, realizing their lies had caught up. Neighbors whispered, some cheered quietly, all still recording. Phones captured every frame of Corinne's defeat. Laura stood tall, uniform crisp, badge shining. Calm, precise, every gesture radiating authority. She glanced at me. "You okay?" she asked softly. I nodded, finally relaxing. "Yeah," I said. "Thanks to you, everything's finally right." The sheriff guided Corinne and the fake officers into the patrol car. The crowd parted naturally. No cheering, just relief, peace. Corinne yelled one last desperate thing. "This neighborhood will thank me one day?" Nobody answered. Nobody moved. The street had spoken in silence. I wrapped an arm around Laura. She leaned against me, still alert, still the storm. Some neighbors whispered to each other. We knew someone had to stand up. That was brave. Others lowered their phones, realizing they had witnessed truth winning over fear. Stay tuned, because next, you'll see the full lessons this taught us about courage, property, and standing your ground. The street had quieted, but the lessons lingered. First, boundaries matter. Corinne tried to bully, manipulate, and intimidate, but she couldn't cross what was ours without consequences. Stand firm. Your home, your land, your life belong to you. Second, courage is contagious. Seeing Laura step forward, calm and unwavering, gave the street strength. When someone leads with integrity, people notice, people follow. Third, truth always surfaces. Fake badges, fake papers, lies, they crumbled in the light of honesty. Lies may intimidate for a moment, but truth wins every time. Finally, the right support makes all the difference. I wasn't alone. Laura wasn't alone. Facing threats together multiplies courage. Neighbors began whispering, nodding in silent approval, realizing what it meant to defend your home, family, and peace. I turned to Laura. She gave that quiet, knowing smile. "I didn't just marry a hero," I whispered. "I married the whole storm." Stay tuned, because next, the street fully reclaims control and the ultimate payoff unfolds. The neighbors stepped outside cautiously at first, then with growing confidence. Phones lowered, conversations replacing whispers. The street felt alive again. Corinne was gone. The fake officers were gone. And for the first time in months, our street felt like ours again. Laura stood on the porch, uniform crisp, badge gleaming, posture calm but commanding. She didn't need words, the authority radiated naturally. I stayed beside her, chest tight with pride, finally relaxed. My calm presence confirmed Corinne's defeat. Neighbors approached slowly, some with smiles, some nodding. "You two handled that perfectly," one whispered. "It's like the street finally breathes again," another added. I looked at Laura. She caught my gaze and smiled, not just at me, but at everyone who had watched the truth unfold. And it hit me, the street, our home, wasn't just a place. It was a statement. Courage matters, boundaries matter, truth matters. Stay tuned, because next we wrap up with the ultimate life lessons and motivational closure. The street had returned to quiet, but the lessons lingered. 1. Boundaries matter. Corinne tried to scare and control, but she couldn't cross what was ours. Stand firm, your home, your land, your life belong to you. 2. Courage is contagious. Watching Laura step forward, calm and unwavering, gave everyone on the street strength. True leadership inspires others. 3. Truth always surfaces. Fake badges, forged papers, lies, they crumbled under honesty. Lies may intimidate for a moment, but truth always wins. 4. Support multiplies strength. I wasn't alone. Laura wasn't alone. Facing threats together made courage unstoppable. Neighbors whispered, nodded, even clapped quietly. Everyone realized what it means to defend your home, your family, and your peace. I turned to Laura. She smiled that quiet, knowing smile. "I didn't just marry a hero," I said softly. "I married the whole storm." Stay tuned, because in the next part we deliver the final cinematic closure, full resolution, and ultimate payoff. The street was finally quiet. No fake officers, no Karen shouting, no fear lingering in the air. Just peace. Neighbors peeked from behind curtains, some stepping outside, phones still in hand, smiles on their faces. They had witnessed the truth unfold, and they had learned something powerful. Courage and integrity always outshine intimidation. Laura stood on the porch, uniform crisp, badge shining, posture calm but commanding. I stepped beside her, chest swelling with pride. Together we had defended more than just property. We had defended our peace, our boundaries, and our dignity. Karen, once the self-proclaimed queen, was gone, her lies exposed. Her fake authority was dismantled. The street had reclaimed control, and everyone who had witnessed it knew. No one messes with someone's home when truth and courage stand firm. I wrapped an arm around Laura, feeling the warmth, the strength, the storm in one person. "I didn't marry a hero," I whispered. "I married the whole storm." Neighbors cheered quietly, phones lowered, the sirens had faded, calm returned. Freedom returned, and we finally could breathe. If you've enjoyed watching truth triumph over intimidation, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more jaw-dropping HOA stories. Because one thing is clear. You don't mess with someone's land, and you definitely don't mess with someone's wife when she's the real uniform in town. The end.